Welcome into the Tour Coach, everybody. I'm your host, Tony Ruggiero. Thanks for sitting in. If you're passionate about the game of golf, you love the game of golf, whether you're a coach, a teacher, or a player, recreational golfer, touring professional, aspiring to get better, I think some of the information you're about to hear can help you. These are the conversations with the people that I meet, the coaches that I teach with that I find interesting, the caddies, the fitness experts, mental coaches, or players or students that I meet in my journey to help all of you play better golf. And these are the conversations we have. They're authentic, they're real, you'll laugh, some will make you think. All of it is designed to help you play better golf. I hope you enjoy these conversations, and if you like these, look, you can always go find more of our content, which is available for you on YouTube, on DewsweeperTV. That's at DewsweeperTV on YouTube. All of these, you can watch the video, but you can also watch some of our productions where you can watch us go one-on-one behind the scenes with a real player as we all work together to help people play their best. So check out DewsweeperTV. Please keep listening to the Tour Coach here. I hope you like the conversations. I'm enjoying putting the stuff out, and I enjoy this journey helping all of you play better golf. And once again, though, none of this would be remotely possible without our long-time sponsors, especially Cleveland Shrixon Golf, Mitch McConnell and McConnell Automotive, Buick GMC, Bushnell, Stokely's Midtown Garden Center, Taylor Martino and Rowan in Mobile, all of the great sponsors, and especially our new one, because there's going to be some fun nights ahead, Epic Western Tequila Drink, coming at you live from Texas. So appreciate our sponsors, appreciate all the people that sit and chat with me, and we're going to look forward to bringing you more tour coaches and more content as we help all of us play better golf there on Dewsweeper TV. All right, so joining me here on the Tour Coach, and obviously available for you out there on Dewsweeper TV on YouTube. Make sure you check out that YouTube page. Is joining me Dr. Greg Cartin, and we have a section there on Dewsweeper TV where we're putting up his mental and performance tips. Doc, we've had some questions come in from folks, and look, if you have a question about your mental game or your performance that you want to send to Doc, you can do that very easily. You can find us on Instagram or at the Dewsweeper. Doc, what's your Instagram? It's at GC3 Greg, isn't it?
Yes, at GC3 Greg. Yeah, anyone can reach out there and be happy to answer questions.
Or you can just go onto the YouTube page and write a question as well. But one of them was, and I get this a lot from juniors parents more than anybody.
Yeah, right.
Can people practice their mental game? Like, how do you practice or work to improving your mental skills for playing golf?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think you're right. You just said it there perfectly. That I think sometimes parents will see their kids, and it seems like they're suffering or struggling on the golf course, and assume that their mental game isn't where it needs to be.
Right.
So they'll reach out and they'll say, "Hey, you got to help. Can you help so-and-so develop a better mental approach to the game?" And so I get on the call with the kid and say, "Hey, what's going on? How's it going?" And I'm not thinking the right way out there. Okay. Well, then the question is always, well, let me ask you, when you play your best or you're playing well, what are you thinking? What's your mindset then? And you know what they do?
They don't remember, or they can't.
They don't know, right? So that's I think one of the biggest misconceptions as it relates to the mental game, is that there's this correct way to think. And it's funny that this question came up. I'm actually in the process of writing my first book on this exact topic, in terms of some of the misconceptions that are out there around the mental game. Yeah. Brand new information released today on Dewsweeper TV.
I mean, breaking news.
Breaking news. So we'll get back to this idea. So now we've determined that, well, maybe there isn't a correct way to think to play well, because maybe there's times when you're not thinking well and you're playing well, or you feel like you're thinking the right things and feeling good and not playing well, and it sort of goes both ways. So what I've found over the years in this work and being at camps and working with kids and pros and all different levels is that it's not the thoughts that cause our issues. It's the judgment we place on ourselves, assuming we should be thinking a different way. So let me give you the example. Golfer stands on the first tee and has a pretty normal human fear thought that relates to hitting one out of bounds, right?
Yeah.
Can't hit this one out of bounds, right? Now that thought itself has no bearing on what the golfer does next. It's when the golfer says to himself or herself, oh, wait, I'm not supposed to think this. I've been told, again, it doesn't happen this literally, but I've been told I'm not supposed to think negative thoughts. But I can't stop thinking this. Something must be wrong. I better think about something else. Think about something good. Oh, wait, that's not working. And all of a sudden they've entered this battle with themselves, right? When in reality, you can make a really good golf swing and think about hitting one out of bounds at the same time. But if you enter into that battle with yourself where you try to change what you think or think you should be thinking differently, then you've created the problem. And when you say, is there stuff to work on? I think the work that I do with my clients and kids we work with is not changing what they think, but helping them build a greater tolerance to the thoughts that they have.
Wow.
Right. So if I can tolerate the negative thoughts, I can still make good golf swings. It's nice to have a positive thought, but our brains aren't designed that way. It's rare we stand on that first tee and get excited about pumping one right down the middle.
So it's really less about practicing or working to improve how you think. It's more about understanding what you think and learning to deal with your thoughts and accepting it than it is about practicing or change. Now, I've had some juniors that are like this. I've had tour players that are like this too. How do you help, the junior, the player that gets excessively negative and beats themselves up and is incredibly hard on themselves? Because there's no question that at times that does affect performance of a player. I've had tour players that would get so negative out there after one or two bad shots with here it goes again, right? How do we do anything with that, or
I mean, everyone's a little bit different. I think some people are driven by that, right? But you're absolutely right. At a certain point, the constant negative self-talk and the beating themselves up can certainly get in the way. The conversation to have first is to say, how do you feel when you're talking to yourself like that? We did it. You and I did this once a long time ago at a camp, and it popped up on Instagram recently, where we took a kid and had him hit a few shots on the range. He was warming up, right? And his swing looked great, and there was no target, there was no pressure. And then we introduced this, okay, now here's where you're going to compete. Now you're going to hit this shot to that flag, and you're going to hit a little bit of a cut up against the wind, and you want to land it, 20 feet from that pin. And man, was his swing awful, right? And everyone's watching, and then we started yelling at him, right? Man, you are so bad, right? How can you play this game?
Yeah.
He was looking at me like, whoa, what's going on here? Well, when you highlight it that way and you see how much that can get in the way, because that's how we talk to ourselves.
Okay.
Right? So shifting that language that we use towards ourselves. Now, it doesn't mean you can't get disappointed and upset and even angry, right? As long as you're not judging that. But the voice needs to shift to one of which you would be, I would say, like, be your own caddy. Like, would your caddy say that to you? Well, maybe some guys would, but right, that's the voice you want to adopt. Or your best friend. If your best friend hit that shot, would you get in their face and start screaming at them and yelling at them? No.
I've always liked that idea that, if a caddy or a buddy said that to you, would it piss you off? Would you, would that be accepted? I think that kind of always puts
it takes work.
Perspective.
it takes work to make that shift. This is where the work lies, right? In making those little shifts. Now, on the extreme end of that,
Wait, real quick though, that's like learning to make little shifts in how you accept what you're thinking,
that's right.
or little shifts in how you talk to yourself is work. Like,
It is. It also makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and I think sometimes though that, like, not that beating on parents of junior golfers, right? Or players, but like those little shifts take time and are work, and it is taking practice, and you have to be aware of it. Like, so it may not look to an outsider like they're working hard on their mental game or there hasn't been a huge improvement. Like, it takes time and it takes work.
That's absolutely right. And it's hard because it's not very tangible, right? Most of the work we do, it's all anecdotal. Hey, I felt pretty good out there today.
Yeah, and there's data for everything else. Like, everything else is data driven in golf now, right?
That's right. That's right. And it's not black and white. It's not one day it's perfect and one day it's so bad. It's moments in there that we're trying to make different, so that you're just a little bit more free when you make some swings, or you feel a little bit better after the round when you shoot 100.
Right.
And that you can live with that. So, but getting back to this other point about being negative and down on yourself and really beating yourself up, we shared a client for a few years who constantly was getting told by others that he can't be that way. Right? This guy played on tour, and it's just who he was. Right? And when he had the breakthrough of, hey, we gave him permission to be that way, to not judge himself, to say, hey, this is who I am. I'm a guy that gets angry. I'm a guy that yells at myself. I'm okay. I feel all right, but everyone's telling me I shouldn't be doing that. And immediately things started to turn around because he didn't change what he was thinking. He stopped judging himself. And it was a massive shift, right? To give him just that little bit more freedom that's needed. And again, the goal in all, I think, mental training and work and performance enhancement is not changing what we think. It's helping athletes achieve just a little bit more freedom so they can access the skill that they already have.
Yeah, I think I think that's just such a big point, because I think the majority of people, when they come and they say, hey, how can I work on my mental game, or what can you give little Johnny to make him not get pissed off? Like, it isn't one thing you tell a person. And one, it takes time to help them discover this stuff. But like, you also don't want to change a person who they are, right? Like, I mean, part of why some people are very good is that they are very driven, and it does piss them off when they don't play well, right? Yeah. You know, and like, I've also equally, you've seen guys that play terrible when they don't get mad, and they try to hide it like that.
That's right.
Right. It doesn't always work. Just not getting pissed off.
Yeah, that's an example of resisting what's real, right? And that creates tension.
Right.
Right. So what we're trying to develop is at the end of the day, an acceptance of who you are, and you learning how to manage yourself. Right. And a lot of that comes from not judging. Now, you know, in golf, you can't break the rules, you can't break clubs or get in someone else's way. But inside of that, you know, if you get angry, you get angry. Just don't judge yourself for it. And I think what people will find is they're much better equipped to tolerate those feelings, and it won't affect the next shot.
You know, I always, you know, I know this is a little bit pop psychology, but like the old Tiger Woods story that, you know, Tiger's as fiery and gets as pissed as anybody, right? Right. But the old story that his dad would say, like, you could get as mad as you want as long as it doesn't affect the next shot, or it's over with by the whatever three yards or 3 steps from where you went. Like, I think like it does. And I tell my players, just from a performance, like for me teaching and coaching, like, as long as whatever you're thinking or doing doesn't affect the next shot, right? Like what you know, and I've heard you talk about a million times with players and juniors at our retreats that, like, what just happened in the last shot and what you thought doesn't have any bearing
Right.
the next occurrence, the next thing.
Good or bad.
Right. Just because you just hit a great one and you feel super good doesn't mean you're going to strike the next one. Just
Right.
like if you just duck hooked one into the pond and you're totally pissed and frustrated, doesn't necessarily mean the next one's going to do that.
That's right. There's an old Buddhist mantra, begin again, right? Each
Mhm.
shot, you begin again.
Well, that's new, bringing Buddhism into the
Dew
Sweeper TV. We're growing here. I'm growing.
But it's a really powerful mantra, right? Now there's no stories about what happened before or what could happen, right? That's a way of staying engaged in the moment, right? Because again, the ultimate goal is to create an environment for yourself where you can make a pretty free swing, tension-free swing, not even hit a good shot.
Yeah.
And if you can boil it down to that and really simplify, I think the overwhelming sense that you need to make a complete overhaul in your mental approach is going to go a lot easier. It's
awesome. Doc, this is awesome stuff. We're going to keep doing this, keep taking people's questions and keep putting this stuff out every week to 10 days on DewsweeperTV.
Right.
Make sure everybody checks it out. Also, we'll put up some clips on our Instagram, and make sure you give Doc a follow at GC3. But Doc, we'll have some more questions for you soon. I thought this was awesome.
Yeah, thanks, Tony. I appreciate it. I enjoy getting the message across, and looking forward to getting down to Florida again soon to do some work together.
We can't wait.